Welcome to my fellow SANGE SA team members and the audience joining in with us today. This is the final installment for the year of the Metamorphosis Roundtable. And today we just wanted to come together as Team SANGE SA and reflect on the past two Metamorphosis Roundtable events that we've hosted. The first one for Women's Day and the second one for Heritage Day. And we just want to come together in conversation, as we usually do, to reflect on the success of our events, and also to look at the vision and the goals for the future with these kind of initiatives and our goals and plans for the future as an organization. So thank you so much for joining us, and I hope that you can take some amazing gems away from today's conversation. So I will start by introducing our team members. We'll start at the top, and we'll have our managing director, Nobandla Goboto. Who's going to just give us a hi there. We have our operations manager, Nadia Chakavula, can give us a hi there. We have our training administrator, Tatos Khale. And then we have myself, my marketing and communications coordinator, Lutsando Khani. And we also have our member that's not with us today, our operations director, Mr. Viwe Koboto. We introducing him even though he's not with us today, and just to give you the faces of SANGE SA. It's lovely to meet you, it's lovely to know you, and we appreciate your support. So today we're going to start our conversation with just recapping on our first event for Women's Day, which was the Emerging from Chrysalis. That was our theme for the discussion. And we had an amazing group of speakers that joined us, where we discussed the parallel of a butterfly leaving its cocoon and flourishing, and we compared it to, the transitions and the growth of women. And it was a really insightful conversation to have, to hear different women that were in their entrepreneurship journeys, that it wasn't just about sharing their journeys in business, but also sharing their trials and tribulations and their strategies and their coping mechanisms, and just also creating that sense of community. And I think that was the main aim of the conversation, to kind of learn from each other and create that sense of community. And our team member, Nadia Jagavula, was part of the panel of speakers for that first event. And I just wanted her to take us through, Nadia, how that conversation was for you, what you took away from it, how it left you feeling. And yeah, take us through your thoughts and your feelings about that first roundtable event.
Well, good morning, everybody. It is so great to actually be here and just really looking back and almost reminiscing at how great the last two roundtables were. And when I think about the amazing panelists that I had the privilege to be one of. So it was really, really amazing. We had Mercy Barasa, we had Boitumelo Gumede, we had Shatani Ngata as well. So it was really, really so powerful, hearing different women's their perceptions or their understanding of how women fare in their countries, and just hearing the differences in how we do things in these different African countries. But there were also so many synergies that came into play. When we looked at one of the speakers who came from the construction background, for instance, right? And she mentioned how being from the construction background in her country was almost, it was a very male-dominated industry. And she said something rather, that took me back a bit, because she said she herself would not hire other women within that industry, and yet she's a female in that industry.
Imagine.
Right? And those are the same kind of biases that we have, even in South Africa, for instance, where we have certain industries that are more male dominated or more female dominated. And then there are so many biases towards, the other gender. But it was so interesting to hear another woman saying she would not hire a female in her space, right? So it goes to show that at times, some industries can be so complex. And just because she is making it in that female-dominated industry, but she also empathizes with the rest of the, females, because she knows what a harsh environment that is, that actually came from Karen.
Yeah.
Karen had actually taken us through her business within the construction industry. And here she was being mindful, about females, and saying, I don't feel that this is actually an industry that's very conducive for women, unless if it's a very tough, type of a woman, a very specific kind of a woman. But it also blows my mind that she was able to break the ceiling in her industry, and she was able to break through, in a male-dominated industry, and doing as amazing as she's doing. So again, it shows that women, we can do whatever we set our minds to do. So that was really such an eye-opener for me, just seeing the synergies, within our different countries as women, and how at times, as well as women, it's not that we are discriminating. I don't believe Karen was discriminating other women, but it was a matter of actually empathizing, right? To say, this industry is really tough. It's not for every woman. There's a specific woman that can make it in this industry. I think that's what she was alluding to more than anything else. It was really, really interesting. That's the one thing that sticks out for me quite a bit. I don't know who else would like to just.
I agree about the empathizing with each other, and I think we did touch on that, about creating soft landings for each other as women, and encouraging each other to kind of just like step out of our shells. And that allows me to also reflect on my role as a moderator for the first time. That
You did
pushed
great, by the
me.
way.
Thank you. It pushed me, it spoke to literally the name of the theme, emerging from chrysalis, and chrysalis being the process of the butterfly leaving the cocoon. That's what chrysalis mean. And to speak from a personal place, for me, the beginning of the Roundtable series was that process of chrysalis for myself, because I had to challenge myself and put myself out there with genuinely people I would probably consider a little bit more experienced than me, and they've earned their way and paved their way a little bit more than I have, and kind of having to challenge my mind to be like, you deserve a seat at the table. You can lead conversations with people that have a little bit more experience in life and in career than you do. So just, we spoke about soft landings and encouraging each other, but that experience in itself was that process of chrysalis. And I can say we kind of achieved that impact. For me, I felt it was achieved just by me being able to moderate a roundtable discussion for the first time. So yeah.
Fantastic.
And I think just to add to that, so since that was the opening of the roundtable, and as Ulutando mentioned, just our ethos and our way of how we do things at SANGE SA, caterpillar moving into a butterfly. I'm thinking, Lutando, you recommended Uboitumelo as
Yes.
one of the panelists, and you thought you know what, she would be great for this first session. And yeah, what was your thinking around that?
For me, I think the idea or the thought process around having a conversation with women and they emerging from chrysalis, it took me back to my own experience, my own life experience of what, who have I come across that has helped me on my journey, you know? Who have I come across that I may not know, like on a personal basis, but they have made such an impact in my life. And Wujimela was the first person that came to my mind because I interacted a lot with her content on social media and it really impacted me. She speaks about mental health and also her faith. And so that cross section there, and she's also a young mom. And I related to her a lot to be like, oh my gosh, it's okay to kind of be a young mother, um, figure out what's happening with your, spiritual journey and also with your mental health journey. And all of those can exist at the same time and you can still live a full life. And just watching her speak so frankly and honestly about it, I felt to myself, for this to be what we want it to be, a genuine and an organic representation of what it means to be in transition all your life as a woman. That's what made me think of like I really think other people need to hear from her or hear just a bit of her story, to see that hey, it's okay. This is real. Other people go through it like this, and your journey is your own lane, but we can all create, whether directly or indirectly, we create soft landings for each other as women. So that was my inspiration behind getting Dumelo on the panel of speakers, and I think she was amazing.
No, she really was. And I think to also just touch on what Unadia was saying about Karen in the construction industry as a female and just the challenges faced and the ceilings that we are trying to break in that space. Because I think as women, we are really trying to enter as many spaces that people thought we couldn't enter.
Yeah.
And Karen has been a great example of that. And I think, in all honesty, I'm looking at my nails now. Imagine working in construction and I have to do some foundation. I need to
Hey.
mix cement with something. I don't think
Mm,
I'm ready yet
yeah.
for that space. But then it also, with what you said, Nadia, of breaking this glass ceiling, made me think of Mercy. So Mercy Barasa has also been quite, instrumental in her own space, in her industry. I'm thinking just recently we have enforced the POPI Act, the Protection of Personal Information Act. And this is her space where she talks about data protection, data privacy. And it looks, simple at first until you realize all the data, you are exposed to, all the data that we share. I was chatting to Mercy a little while ago about how at times when you are entering certain complexes, they want you to fill in your name, your surname, car registration, at times your ID number. And what is that information used for? Will that information be shared at some point? What happens with those booklets, that have all of that information? How are they discarded? So again, just talking about, the amazing work, being done. And then I think also, Nadia, you must share the amazing work you do as well. How you are emerging from chrysalis and just everything that you've done.
I think it's so fitting, the emerging from chrysalis theme that we had in August, because for me, having literally stepped into a completely new industry, within the learning and development space, I really had to become that caterpillar once again. And I had to emerge into a butterfly, and I had to really hit the ground running. And it's been such an amazing journey, just growing and learning all about this wonderful space that I'm in now. So yeah, that's really, really been an absolute highlight. And it's been the ever constant learning that is the main highlight. And I keep on saying to you, Nobs, that it's so amazing that it includes, the level of learning that is included within the space. And it's never ending. Daily, there's something new to learn. So it's really been an amazing and transformational journey emerging from Chrysalis. I think I also just want to touch. I just want to touch on it seemed as we continued with that conversation, um, it was so heartwarming to hear from all the ladies, how they've all had some kind of battle with their mental health, for instance, right? And for me, it was just such a clear indication that we live in a world that is so high pressure. We live in a world where, as women, we are more than ever expected to do so much more, right? Most of us are wives and mothers, and we have careers and all these things going on. We are studying. And so it does have such an impact on our mental health. So it was quite interesting hearing every woman, just touching on the fact that somewhere along their journey, they had some kind of bump in the road, with their mental health being affected. So it was really, really powerful for us to just be candid about that and be, vulnerable to say, this is real. It happens to most of us, and it's really nothing to be ashamed of or to be looked as a taboo. That for me was also another highlight from that conversation.
Yeah. No, it was
Yeah,
really.
and just adding on what you were saying, Nadia.
Mhm.
I so with me what I'm taking away is that noticing that such kinds of conversation or roundtables are actually necessary because, as you've explained, that we do all these things and the world is evolving, right? So back then, I mean, if you look at like 50 years back, women were not required to be, in leadership positions, but now we are required to be in leadership position, adding to all the responsibilities that we have always had, So it's a revolving it's revolving, and as women we are getting to experience it, to know that actually this door can also be opened for me, this ceiling can also be broken for me. And sometimes going through that journey alone, it almost feels like you can't do it, but having such kinds of gatherings where we speak about our mental health, our struggles, our challenges in workplaces, it sort of gives you hope, and it encourages you, and it gives you that booster that, what, you are not alone. This is us, and this is, we can do it, you see. So I really, really enjoyed that round table, really did.
It really
Yeah.
was amazing.
Mm.
No, it was really an impactful, insightful, and inspirational um,
Yes.
conversation. And it takes me to look at our second roundtable event, which coincidentally had another amazing group of women. Whoop, whoop,
Yes.
amazing group of women. It was for our Heritage Day event. And it was around the interconnectedness of Africa. Um, and we had we were looking at cultures in concert, building bridges across African communities. And we had Sandra Bosa from Nigeria. We had Tandiwe Ngulube from Zambia. We had our own Tato Sikhale from South Africa, and we had Rosemary Kimunya from Kenya. And it was just an amazing and beautiful conversation talking about the interconnectedness and the multiculturalism and the diversity of the African continent, and kind of being able to learn about each other's cultures, and to able to also learn how much diversity exists within each African country, never mind the continent, which is just mind blowing. And so that was an amazing experience to kind of learn from these women from these African cultures, from these African countries, excuse me, about the experiences of diversity and culture, just obviously in their livelihood and also within their businesses. And I know Tato, you represented us there, and I just love to hear how that experience was for you and what were your takeaways.
Sure. So the experience, I can say it was good for me because and also nerve-wracking because I was supposed to be, or I was in this roundtable with phenomenal women that I experienced that have went through life because they were most of them I think they're older than me, but it was nice to also just learn that as much as a continent we are diverse, but shockingly enough, we are also connected one way or the other because I got to also learn that, Tandi is from Zambia, right? And the name Tandi is a Zulu name. And I got to learn from her on the round table that there's actually in their languages there's similarities with their language and Zulu language. So that's the connection part, which is I find it to be very mysterious, you know, but it was quite an eye-opening round table, that we actually are one people, at the end of the day. So it was really beautiful.
Yeah, it was. And I especially was so intrigued by Rosemary's initiative. So Rosemary is the founder of the Kenya Flower Festival, which took place a month ago in October, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, and it was just beautiful to see such an initiative from an African um, country and from the African continent, and it just being such a huge event, and I had not known of it. And I think had it not been for our event and being able to interact with her and just seeing how we can how she's taking something like flowers and introducing it to her country and her community and introducing them and educating them on these flowers and showing the beauty of them and creating an entire festival um, that's been running more than a year. I think that was amazing, and I think I was really inspired by her belief in that in that initiative, and to see how great it's doing. That was really, really amazing.
Mm.
Yes, and following that event, she won an award.
Yes,
So,
yes.
yeah.
Congratulations, Rosemary.
Mm. And then to think also that this flower festival, it was her third one that she's been running. And this is also a woman who is fully employed elsewhere. So imagine that. So she has a full-time job while making time, to build her business, build her vision. So yeah, kudos to
And
her.
Sissy, I'd also just like to pose a question to you regarding so how you and Rosemary have that relationship through the African Women's Entrepreneurship what's the C?
Cooperative.
Cooperative, thank you. And I think for you, you've had like so much experience interacting with so many diverse cultures from the African continent and different um, entrepreneurs from the African continent. And how has that interaction been with you? What have you learned? What experiences have you had? Being able to directly just participate in that interconnectedness of the African continent.
Thanks, Lou. And interestingly, Tandiwe, Mercy, Rosemary, Sandra. Am I leaving anyone out? I think just, the four of them
Yeah.
they are my sisters from AWEC. So it's interesting with Sandra being from Nigeria, young lady, I call her my little sister, who went and studied business administration, business management, and started up her cleaning company. So I think from her, just learning how hard you need to work. Sandra doesn't have a Monday to Friday. She has a Monday to Monday. She's working Monday right through to Saturday to Sunday. There's just work. So even when I met with her in person in Kenya, it was really interesting that while the rest of us are in Saturday and Sunday mode, she's working. She has cleaners to dispatch. She has clients to follow up on. She's busy sending out quotes and proposals. So yeah, just quite interesting. I felt that I need to work harder. I am not working hard enough. We are relaxed in South Africa. And then I think also with Thandi, we're similar setup to Rosemary, where she also has a full-time job and then has her business, on the side, which she continues to push and grow. And just this Saturday, what was the date on Saturday? Let's see.
25th.
25th, yeah.
Yeah, so 25th November, she was hosting an AWEC alumni get-together in Zambia. Where she got together AWEC alumni from your cohort 1. We are part of cohort 5, which means we are the 5th year of the AWEC program running. So she managed to collect and gather those women together and have discussions. Also, people got to bring their products and sell some of their products and really talk business and how do we grow our business. So, and then I met Corin on another program which focused more on SADC region or SADC women back in 2019. And it was SADC, but we had a few other women who were allowed onto the program, and it was a cohort of 22. And South Africa got to pilot this for the African Development Bank, which was a great initiative because, again, there you are interacting not just with your own sisters or your own family that may be Xhosa or that may be from the Western Cape, Gauteng, or from South Africa or from SADC, but we are really going into Africa. And I think in terms of that interconnectedness and our cultures in concert, you really get to see. I think at some point we think South Africa is huge, or South Africa is this island and it's just us, and us. And I think once you start interacting outside of, our borders, you really get to see the amazing, and as Tato said, phenomenal women and the amazing and brilliant ideas they have, what they are implementing in their countries, what they are doing to address whatever social ills or challenges that they face as a country. Because, as I was saying, from interacting with people outside and women outside of our border, there's just a lot we get to learn. We get to learn, I think, yeah, there's a lot we get to learn, but even from that, it means we need to take those lessons, see what we can do better. Obviously, we are not competing. We are all on this African continent. We are all trying to, and I think firstly, you try and support yourself, just like they say on an aircraft.
Yes.
If it's about to crash, before you put the life jacket even on your baby, you need to first put it on yourself and then the next person. So I think entrepreneurship and interacting with different people from different countries, different cultures, that's what I'm learning. I'm learning, how can I put on this vest properly? Because sometimes it's not on properly. There are times where you feel like you are sinking or you are about to drown, and it could be from all kinds of things, which is what we've learned from the first roundtable, women sharing and talking about mental well-being. And then from the second one, where we are now talking cultures. And even with what Tato mentioned now of Tandiwe, who is a descendant of Shaka Zulu. So you then find that there are some similarities in their dialect or their language, that side, where it's very close to our Nguni, line. So just a lot to learn and a lot we can do so that we are then able to positively impact our communities and then positively have an impact on our country with some of the challenges we face, some of the big ones being poverty, being crime, being our education, levels, and ultimately being unemployment. Because when more people are employed, it means we are able to sustain ourselves and we are not too dependent on people we shouldn't be depending on.
Yeah.
Great point, great point. I think something that also really stuck out for me when Sandra from Nigeria was actually, explaining that Nigeria has over 500,000 dialects, 500 dialects, 500 different languages. And not only that, but they also have like 250 ethnic groups. And so when you touch on her being a workaholic in her cleaning company, it makes so much sense. I mean, when you come from a country that overpopulated, with over 500 languages and over 250 ethnic groups, one cannot help but really, ensure that they are outworking their competitors. And I suppose that's where that hardworking spirit comes from in Nigerian people. When you interact with Nigerians, there always seems to be that level of competitiveness and, always wanting to get ahead. So it speaks a lot about, the magnitude of the challenges that they face in their country, for instance, right?
Yeah,
That
yes.
is true. I recall in Zambia as well, Tandi, where touched on the many ethnic groups and the many languages that are spoken. I don't want to get the number incorrect, but it was quite a large number. Um, but something that stuck to me or kind of connected with me, there was a bit of an interconnectedness with what we spoke about in the first roundtable and in the second one. And I remember in the first roundtable, we did speak about the challenges that sometimes we face as women in business. And Tandiwe touched on um, having with her logistics company and having to deal with the drivers and from different ethnic groups and them not wanting to understand or not wanting to react immediately. But I couldn't help but make the connection of like it also has something to do with the woman being in charge and kind of just like relaying the instructions of you need to do this and you need to do that. So it's twofold. It's not only just the diversity or the differences that come with, the differences and the nuances that come from being from different ethnic groups, and taking instructions and understanding each other, because that multiculturalism and understanding each other within business and companies and organizations is very important for a good work culture and a good workflow. Now, if you work in logistics like that, from learning for what Tandiwe shared with us, it becomes difficult because your drivers are from different places, and then now there's that other fold of like this is a woman-led company. So it's those two factors that were very interesting to me that are challenges that women in business and women entrepreneurs face, especially in the African continent, because now we're dealing with twofold struggles. So that was something that I also took away, and I really pondered about a little bit about. We actually do have many struggles, and it's all about kind of. I think that's why was the importance of that round table. discussion, to have that conversation, to share, so that we can all put our heads together, whether it was in that conversation or outside of the conversation, to think about how can we solve that problem. And I think that was the intention behind it. Like, how can we embrace this the diversity and create this culture of interconnectedness, you know, in order to help each other succeed within the African continent. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was great. So, in just looking at those two past events, which I believe was so successful because we took away so many gems, whether it was our attendees that were with us, that interacted with us in the Q&A section, or our esteemed speakers that took the time out to join us and share these gems with everybody. Just to look at what the intention was with creating this concept and coming up with a roundtable series called the Metamorphosis Roundtable. And I think the Metamorphosis is very intentional. It does speak to like the ethos and the values of SANGE SA as an organization. And I think it's a manner for us to, we do a lot of impactful work. Being in the learning and development industry, we do a lot of impactful work. We impact a lot of lives because of the work that we do. But this was also kind of our, I don't want to say informal, but another alternative method of learning and developing in more of a natural space and more of a, how can I say, inspiring and healing and creating community, you know. These are also spaces that we can learn certain important skills to go through life by having conversations with people that have been in places that we want to go, or been in places that we have never even thought of going. And so it's a continuous metamorphosis. And I think the intention behind creating that space, was to create a space for conversation and to create a space of growth. And I really am proud of how that concept has just come to life. And I'm proud of how we all came together as a team, and the background work, and, you know, trying to come together with like, how can we facilitate this conversation to be organic, to be natural, and for people to take away life lessons, or to say, be able to pat themselves on the back and be like, okay, I'm actually doing well, I'm actually in the right direction. And it also, as an organization, kind of forced us to grow, whether as speakers, we were speakers, and also as moderators, kind of leading conversations that we never in our life imagined that we would be able to lead. And in the moment, it's easy to kind of just exist in the hype and the anxiety of like, oh, I hope this goes perfectly. But now that we, you know, winding down the year and we're looking back, and you look at that was actually something quite big that we were able to achieve as an organization. And we have so many goals and desires and plans for this series that we want to take on into the future, and build it into something that's in person, and build it into something that's impactful, and build it into something that's huge, that can even be international. And so, I just would like to hear from my team about how this series and the inception of this series, inception of the series impact you.
I think for me, looking at the reactions from the audience, that for me was such a great indicator of how well we did in the first two roundtables, because it says the recording is set to expire. Do we need to increase our time? Okay. So, the way the audience received the first two roundtables really was amazing. And when we looked at the numbers, even the fact that we had an increased audience on our second roundtable event really was an indication that we are doing something right. The sort of interactions we were getting from the audience as well, they were so engaged. They asked questions, they they were connecting to the things that were said. Some were asking when is the next roundtable event. So that was really, really a great way for us, as a team to measure the impact of these roundtables. So I think it's definitely a great initiative we have embarked on, and I can't wait for us to really, expound on it in the new year and make it more exciting and more engaging, like you just mentioned, Lou, where we can even have in-person events as well. So yeah, very excited for the future of these roundtable events.
Mm. So yeah, so I also share the same sentiment with Nadia, right? The fact that people are just excited to be part of our roundtable and are excited for the next roundtable that is going to be happening. For me, I felt like we are getting somewhere, right? I felt like what we were doing or what we are doing, it's actually does impact and affect people outside of us. So for me, that is a takeaway. I mean, the audiences increased in the second roundtable, which is a highlight, and also the engagement from them. Yeah. So I feel like we are in the right lane. We are in the right lane, and we are getting somewhere. Yeah. You're
Yes,
mute.
and sorry, Tato. And since I was an observer, that was nice. But I think just a huge well done to you guys, hey? Truly amazing work, because everyone has been involved, in this or in these roundtable discussions. So whether it's team behind the scenes, we need to approve, the discussion. We are talking around, we are talking around what the title will be, what the theme will be, why we are having these conversations, and then having you guys there as panelists, and also sitting and brainstorming on who else we could actually bring on board and why we are bringing those people on board. And then to you, Lou, our awesome moderator, it is quite a task that you took on. 2 months into the role, 2 months at SANGE SA, and things are happening. You are shaking things up. You are saying, guys,
Yeah.
let's grow, let's do more, let's impact.
She
And I
really
think
emerged
also,
from chrysalis.
yes, let's emerge from chrysalis.
It is.
Exactly. And we will have moments where we are in that cocoon. Because I think in our space, as Nadia had mentioned when she was sharing her own experience as a panelist, is, this is a new industry for her. Some people may come from HR, may not. Tato, you come from our industry, but you then got to this side and saw we do things a bit differently. And at times we are doing a million things at once due to the nature of how, our business is and how our projects run. But you all came in, stepped up, and you said we are emerging. You said we are figuring it out. And I mean, being on panel discussions does come with some nerves, which Tato mentioned. That she was nervous, she was excited, she was nervous, she was going to be in a panel or at a round table with other phenomenal women from across Africa, and I mean, yeah, whatever challenge has been set forth, for each of you, I mean, some of you challenge yourselves, but whatever other challenge, our space or energy is bringing forward, you step up. So thank you, to you. And I truly appreciate you. And I am very excited, for all the plans that Lou has, and we all know Lou and her plans. So very excited, for more roundtables, next year. Who's coming on board, what conversations we're having, because whenever I listen back, there's a lot that I learn as well, And I think the nice thing for me with these roundtables, it is this platform where we just get to talk, we get to connect, we get to talk about whatever challenges we are facing. I mean, the Cultures in Concert is speaking to us as individuals, because at times we go through, I don't want to say an identity crisis, but there's a lot we are dealing with. At some point, Ulu was, when she was sharing why she brought Uboitumelo on board, there's a lot that resonated. There are some synergies between the two of them. And I think one of the things you mentioned, Lou, is, being a young mom, being a new mom. And in life, new things keep coming. Utato, in October, you were celebrating your anniversary. You are a new wife, you are also a daughter, you are also a sister, you are also a team member. There are many roles that we play, and there are many hats that we keep adding on, as life goes. And I think with Nadia, we know there are many hats, so many, that you are that you have to wear, some being, yes, you are a mother, you are a wife, my gosh, you are a student, you are a child, you are a sister, you are a prophet. Hey, like
My
so
least
we keep
favorite
adding.
title.
Your least favorite.
My least favorite title.
Hey, but there are these titles, and there are more coming, and it doesn't mean that when we add one on, we get to remove the others. So we need to keep figuring out, how do we cope? How do we manage? So even, the conversation that came up in August around mental well-being, which also helped us really drive and have this focus on our Wellness Wednesdays, to say, let's be mindful of everything that gets added to our plate, because sometimes, besides the things we add on, people add on things to your plate. Tato wakes up and she's told, Tato, you also need to exit this group. Lou, we need this poster. Unadia's thinking, oh my gosh, I had checked this off. Now more things are being added. Okay, she has an email to send now after this. Okay, so there's a lot. And I think these conversations are vital, where it allows us to connect with other people and realize that we are not alone, because at times you can feel alone in your journey. But you are not alone. There are other people who've actually walked the path. There are other entrepreneurs who also inspire us, who are juggling many balls, and inspire us to keep pushing and tell us that, there's more we can do if we want to.
Yeah, that's
That's
so
awesome.
true, Cynthia.
Yeah.
And what I love about us having this reflection on the series is just us being able to actually kind of show our company culture. Because guys, this is us. This is the SANGE SA team, our national element. And that's really what we wanted to show you guys, that we operate as parts that make the machine run together. And this is how SANGE SA is able to achieve everything that it has achieved. And this is how we're able to wake up every day and still go at it, because trust me, we all go through things as individuals, but because we have such a culture, it makes it a lot more easier to get out of the bed, and makes it a lot more easier to send that email, to call your colleague, to call Nadia, to call Nobs, to call Tato, and us to be able to interact. And we have such a unique work environment. We're not always together in the same place, but the culture and the unit that we've created allows us to create this great workforce, and it allows us all to contribute to the future of SANGE SA, because we all have our different kind of visions and departments that also we all
Is Lou frozen for everyone?
Yes, I thought it was just me.
That's why I also gave it a second, just to make sure.
I'm back.
Okay.
Yay.
I'm back. So yeah, in us winding down our conversation and our reflection, I don't know, maybe we could share just a few words on our vision and for the future for SANGE SA. And since it's the end of the year, we're winding down. We've achieved so much. I'm proud of this team. And I'm so grateful to have been able to flourish and grow and come out of my shell in such an environment. And to For me, it's just to work on embodying how we are as a unit and how vibrant and intentional and organic we are as a team, and also just like put that out there in our look and the feel of our organization, which I think we've are beautifully figuring out. And thank you for everybody that has noticed and given us that feedback. So the plan is just to make SANGE SA grow from strength to strength, especially on the comms and the marketing side and the how everybody views us from the outside in. And so, yeah, I'm just really excited for the coming year and all the things that we have under our belts, and just also um, growing the Metamorphosis series and getting more speakers. I hope we're going to get more male speakers as well, because it wasn't intentional. It's just that it was the people in our that we were connected with at the moment, and they did obviously so beautifully, but we also want to get new perspectives, so we're excited about that for next year. So yeah, I don't know how my team members feel about the winding down and the coming of the year, how they feeling, what they want to achieve, whether it's personally or within the organization.
Okay, I think I'll go first. I think we really had a great year, and I'm just so excited about. Guys, please give me a second.
I will edit that out.
Yes, please. So how I feel about I think so for the past months we have been here, it has been personally for me, it has been a very good experience, challenging, but also just figuring out the potential that lies within me, that this is possible for me, that I'm actually able to, do this. For example, with the round table, being one of the panel speakers, I've never thought it will be something that I would be part of anytime soon, but also just being part of it, just it took me out of my comfort zone, and it made me to see um, what's possible and the potential that lies within me. And yeah, it was a bit challenging, but I think it was a good challenge that made me, to be the person that I am. And I think maybe the word that comes to my mind is elevation, maybe for Sange, that in the next coming year we are going up, we're elevating to one step to the next, one step to the next. And I think as we do that, even ourselves personally, we are sort of elevating in our personal lives, in our career lives, and in everything that we do. I mean, what we do in Sange should also be able to flow in our lives and give that positive impact. So yeah, so quite excited for next year.
I love the word you use, Tato, when you say elevation for the organization, because when I reflect on the year that has been, it's really been such an amazing year, working on some amazing projects. We've applied for some great projects for the new year as well. So when I think of our coming year, I'm just thinking of expansion and elevation. So a matter of all of these projects coming in, meaning that as a team, we would need to grow so that we can, handle the capacity of the work that will be coming in. And then also, especially on the marketing side as well, it's really exciting to see how well we are doing on our socials, and just to grow, our social presence to really, really, impact our client base so that we can actually begin to see a real return on investment based on our social media activity, which, it has to pay off, with the amount of work that's going into our social media. So for me, that's really what I envision for the new year. It's expansion, it's the elevation that Tato speaks of, just really exponential growth.
And I think just to add to that, yeah, no, thank you, ladies. I have made notes. Okay, yeah, and I think also just touching on, this metamorphosis and the work that we do as SANGE SA. In our 6 values, one of our values is we are transformative. So it means that as an organization, we embrace change, we embrace diversity. Yeah, we champion it. It's just part of who we are. We can't stay stagnant. We can't stay in the same form. We are constantly emerging, constantly figuring out ways to grow. And another value of ours is expertise. So it means that we are committed to continuous development and learning so that we are subject matter experts in our field. And I think this is something that I always say. So when we go back to emerging from chrysalis and just going back to our ethos and, these butterflies and cocoons that we love, it is really to understand that we need to constantly develop, we need to constantly learn. So with the clients that we work with a lot of diverse, clients from all kinds of industries, which means besides, knowing what we do, we also need to know what they do so that we are able to service them well and understand what their needs are. And I think finally, or a final value to share as part of our 6 values is passion. And we are very passionate people. I can see each of you are passionate about your work, even the quality of work you submit. I think this has been very clear, even from feedback from external people. I mean, Lou, you've received feedback, even opportunities, from external people, from the work that you do. So well done on that. Tato, you were getting feedback. Was it on Friday or was it on Thursday? Just even on how you work, your quality. So once Tato touches things, there is order.
That is so
Things
true.
are organized. You don't struggle to find things. Utato has
There's an
systems, and I
Excel
think that is
spread,
very
there's a
nice.
detailed Excel spreadsheet.
Yes, everything is detailed. Her folders, I was thinking, Lou was telling me on Friday that Utato needs to create a folder for her. And I mean, we are at that point now where at times when I create a folder, I really feel guilty. Ukuba, does this meet Tato standards or am I here messing things up?
Yeah.
So well done to that. And then Nadia, I've also given you feedback on even the quality of reports, that you submit. It means that you are paying careful attention, to our beneficiaries or to the beneficiaries of our programs, which are the most important stakeholders, being our learners. Every single learner. You note every little detail about that learner. And it comes out so beautifully in the report where you feel like you're part of that journey. And even feedback from our clients has really been, I mean, our clients are reading those reports, which is critical. They are reading them, they are also understanding what is being said there. And also, Nadia, how you lead the team. So I can see your passion, for our people. And yeah, so let's continue to live, all 6 of those values. But I think passion in what we do is critical. And the minute you start feeling you are losing passion for your own space or what you do, it means that you have outgrown it. So again, we go back and we learn so that we can move into our next space.
That's so true. Thank you so much, Nobs, for that word and that feedback. It really is amazing and motivating to hear. And I think we wrapped it up so beautifully. And I think what I want to just highlight from this last bit of our conversation is the words expansion and elevation. Expansion and elevation of this organization, and expansion and elevation to our audience, our stakeholders. We wish that for everyone else as we wind down the year and as everybody's making plans for the next year. We wish expansion and elevation. And we really appreciate the support that we've gotten, everybody that has started this journey with us of the Metamorphosis Roundtable. And we encourage you to continue to walk the journey with us, because there is definitely more to come from the series and from SANGE SA as an organization. And with that, I'd like to say thank you so much for joining in on our conversation today and reflecting with us. And we wish you a lovely end of year and festive season. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.